More about the office, really. Because we only have what, like, we have Jake's, his 2 that we have to do. Then we're done.
Yeah.
With the season.
Yep.
And then we're moving on to musicals.
We're moving on to musicals.
And then I've been working on my Shakespeare Star Wars.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I have had to reread the book because I've spaced it a little, so I need to reread the book. So I'm rereading it, but it's getting there.
That's good.
It's getting there. So yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so The Office, what are you thinking?
With The Office?
Yeah, we're gonna do another just a recording session of a whole season?
No. Because the next season is 2, and that's like 20-something episodes.
It's like 24. It's crazy.
I would say, I think the most we should ever do at a time is 6.
Okay, yeah.
Like, because honestly, when we were doing the 6, I was like, oh my gosh, Hot Girl, I was tired. I was like, dude, I can't do this.
Nope.
So maybe at most 6, and then like 5 to 6.
Yep.
Because I think 5 was really good. We got to 5, and it was like, cool. And then 6, we kind of dragged a little. Yeah. I was dragging. I don't know about you, but I was dragging.
Yep.
So I think that's what we should shoot for with that one.
That's good.
If that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So we'll do 6. We'll do 5, and then whenever we can.
Yeah.
Well, so the next 2 weeks I'm free. And even after I'm pretty much free.
Yeah.
Like I can do whenever, and then we'll have to plan with Jake when we can do our movies.
You know, it'd be kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Is a New Year's Eve. We'll do a Facebook Live event. So let's record it before that night.
Yeah.
But have it, let's advertise that we're going to do a 20-minute Crackers and Milk, so people could maybe watch it.
Yeah.
That night, or have it premiere at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, so people are like, oh, we should watch this for 20 minutes. I don't know what we do it on though.
Like we just re-record it and then.
So we just we could even pre-record it today, something.
Yeah, like what would you want to do?
Just to shoot in the. Maybe we just pre-record what the heck we're talking about right now.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like,
why would we want to? But why would people want to watch us like talk about like how the show's produced?
Exactly. Why did anybody like Seinfeld?
Yeah, that's
true. It's a
true.
show about what?
It's nothing. But it's a show about nothing, but it's a show about everything.
Dude.
For the most part, you know what I mean?
So, even with Festivus,
it
is so well interconnected.
Oh, dude, the biggest thing that I was surprised by with the whole thing was that it was in season 9.
Yeah.
I was like,
I didn't realize
I thought it was in the earlier seasons.
Yeah.
Because I think earlier seasons, people always would say that they're a little bit better. And season 9 was pretty good, except the ending. But at the same time, it tied everything in.
Yep.
And it just started with something weird.
Yep.
And ended with something weird. It was like, it's kind of weird.
Like,
oh well.
Just the part where, and I hadn't gotten this for years, it never made sense to me, was the Shadow Girl. And when she's like...
Two-Face.
Two-Face, yeah.
Two-Face, yeah.
And when Elaine she thinks she's the other person. Oh, you're the other girl. And I'm like, for years I was like, what is she talking about? Oh, she's the other girl.
Didn't they just? Well, they did bad lighting. They did really bad lighting,
so
but like,
funny.
Didn't they also put something in her lips?
I think
because
they put
had
something under her eyes to make her eyes look like their sockets.
Yeah,
it was bad.
Oh, and then he always liked the. It was the booth, and then George comes in, like she leaves, and then George comes in, and she's like, Parko's cooking tonight.
He shoots the rubber band.
Oh, man.
That whole show is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Just everything. And I love when, Kramer. You have a job? Yeah, Jerry. I didn't want to tell you. I didn't want to be embarrassed because I was unemployed. Really, Kramer?
It was like 12 years ago.
12 years ago. The strike is over.
I'm calling back. It's 5:23. That's like minimum wage now.
Yep. And I love it when he goes to the guy, the manager, and he's like, I'm back. And he's like, oh, where's the other people?
Yeah.
Well, they got jobs like maybe 2 years after the strike. Oh, gee.
And then at the end, when he was rolling, and then gum fell in,
Yep.
he's like, thanks.
You're fired. Thank you.
Oh, and like that's the one thing Olivia when we talk about, she loves Seinfeld, but she just can't stand George.
Oh,
But like George, like he's one of my favorites because I love the it's one of the first seasons where he like decides not to like seek after sex.
yeah.
And so he doesn't seek after sex because his girlfriend can't do it.
Right.
And so like he becomes a super genius, and Elaine, she becomes celibate too, and she becomes so
dumb.
stupid, kind of like
Yep.
George.
I
And,
love
like,
that.
I love that part because like when your sole desire, like he has said, where it's like, oh man, sex, and then he finally does it, he's like, oh, I can think of other things and I can do so much more. And like he can do so much more. He's so smart.
So smart.
It's like when you eventually take that desire out where you're seeking for sex or seeking for you're seeking for pleasures.
yeah.
You become so smart, man. Like you retain things. It's like, wow.
Wow.
This life is a lot better than what it was with just thinking about this stuff.
My brain has so much more potential.
And so like that stuff speaks to you, and like George, I don't know. I think George is pretty funny, but like one thing that I learned, like something that we talked about a bit with The Office, is you have the straight shooter.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what episode it was, but like George and Elaine, they're so crazy, and Cosmo's crazy, and then Jerry's just like even
Steven.
Stevens.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is like crazy, and you're just like, yeah, Jerry does do that.
Yeah.
And then like I love Jerry too in it, where he wants to laugh, but he's not.
No,
he's like
yep.
stealing character, but it's
Yep.
just like,
He
wow, like
He's kind of a bad actor. I mean, that's what's he would be what Jimmy Fallon would be if because Jimmy Fallon cannot
he can't do
keep
it.
anything straight.
Yeah.
And any SNL, I love watching
Yeah.
SNL with Jimmy because he just
he starts
clenching
laughing
it just because he's like, oh my gosh, I can't handle this. That's how Jerry's a form of that, just a little.
Yeah, like where it's really hard for him. It's really hard for him to hide it.
Yeah.
It's hard for him to hide him breaking because
Yeah.
like you can kind of tell that he breaks a lot because of that smile on his face, like
Yeah.
George or Elaine or something or Kramer, and you're just like, yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, the rest of
do
those
a great
guys
job.
did acting growing up.
Yeah.
I think Jerry was just a comedian.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he ever did acting. I
No,
mean,
I
he
don't
could have
think so.
done, but
But,
not
like-
like these guys.
Yeah, there's a form in stand up, I would believe, that it is acting.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, it's he didn't do that.
He didn't do the formal training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think he ever will do the formal training
no,
of it,
No.
which is 100% okay.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's fine that he doesn't, because he was perfect for what he did
Great role.
and what he was hired to do, or what him and Larry David created. And yeah, I think it's awesome. Like, but when you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm,
Yep.
it's just like, this is all George.
Yep.
It's nobody else. This
Yeah.
is just George.
Yeah.
So George was Larry David
Yep,
the
George is
whole
Larry.
time.
Such a loser.
And it's like Elaine is the opposite of George.
Yeah.
So she is a form of Larry David, and Cosmo Kramer is just,
Oh, I love.
Kramer's awesome.
Yeah.
But it's just like he's the loopy, he's definitely the opposite of Jerry.
Yep.
Very
Yeah.
in
Off
the
the
wind,
wall.
off the wall,
Yep.
crazy.
Yep.
So yeah, it's fun to it's fun to revisit these things. Like, you know, when we were watching the movie, like today, I think we were both watching at
Oh,
the
yeah,
same
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I was like,
was fun.
oh, hey, that's kind of interesting, Mike. And then, like, I'm typing stuff, and then, like, I see in our Google Doc, you're like, it says, Mike just edited it seconds ago. And I'm like, what? And then I scroll down, I'm like, he's way past my scene. How can he type so fast? But, man, he's just past it. So I'm like, oh, dang. And so, like, you do all this other, you do all the typing or however you do it, and then, like, okay, well, he got that down, so I don't really need to write that down. So then I just get caught up in watching the show.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, cool.
One thing I noticed watching stuff was let's see, last week I was watching New Girl.
Yeah.
And I was just so focused on okay, what do I got? What part? And then last night I was like, okay, I've done all the work. Last night I just watched it and I was laughing. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this sucks. I need to watch it and just okay, I'm just watching it.
Well,
And it was great. And then it made me go, oh, I got to put that. I mean, I got to make sure. Because I kind of was like, oh, I know. I love this part. I love this part. When I was watching it, like, kind of, okay, what part do I need to put in? But when I just watched it, I was like, okay, note to self, funny. And there's a part, man, we're just going to.
We'll talk about it. But, like, the one thing that I want to tell you is what I do when we do movies.
Yeah.
Or when we do this is I watch it.
Yeah.
So then I can enjoy it.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, I'm just going to enjoy it. I just want to watch it. So I'm going to watch this episode. And I've watched that. Like, when we talked about Christmas episodes, okay, what ones we're going to do? I'm like, okay, I don't know what ones we're going to do. So then I went through New Girl. I went through How I Met Your Mother. Those are the only two that I really went through. Like, I was trying to do Modern Family, but that one is really tough to find a specific, because I saw one today and I was like, oh, that's a Christmas one.
Yeah,
that's a little weird.
Yeah,
you know, it's not bad, but but you know, New Girl has it's like, okay, this is what it is. Yeah. Also, How I Met Your Mother was this is what it is,
it has
and it's
Christmas
like,
in the title.
Yeah, and so it was really easy to find. And so like watching those, I'm like, oh, okay, and then just watching them just made me enjoy it, and you're just like, okay, is this one that I would really want to watch? Because I would watch one and then I'd try and find the other ones so then I can compare. I'm like, yeah, you know, they're good.
Yeah.
Like, I think New Girl and How I Met Your Mother, those episodes were good. Those were really good. But like, when you're comparing it to Seinfeld, Festivus, which has had years to marinate and become so much better, that it's like, yeah, you can't beat it.
No.
Like, you're good, but you can't beat it. And even like when these marinate, when New Girl and How I Met Your Mother marinates more, they're good. But I don't think they can unseat Festivus.
No.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Festivus for the rest of us.
And then, like, I know we're going to be talking about the Star Wars Holiday Special. That one just has that unique flavor of Star Wars where you're just, it's so, like, watching it the first time, it was funny.
Yeah.
And then rewatching it to do this, like, to get ready and prepared of what's funny.
Yeah.
Because, like, you did a lot. You did a lot of Palpatine and, like, the Dark Lord and all that stuff.
Right.
When you were writing your stuff that you liked. Yeah. And I like those parts, too. So I'm like, okay, so what can I bring to this that it's funny, too?
Yeah.
And then I watched it and I was like, oh, yeah, he didn't do this. So I could do this. I could do this because this is funny. This is funny. This is funny. And so, like, I got some things that are like, oh, my gosh, this is just funny. And then just like, so I'm excited to talk about Festivus and Star Wars, and I'm also excited to talk about New Girl and How I Met Your Mother, and because I think these shows were really, really good. Where it's like, man, this is good as a warm up to Christmas.
Yeah,
and that's what we want to do is just talk about stuff before Christmas. And
Christmas
get
Eve
things ready.
episodes.
Yeah, and where it's just kind of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, the Christmas Star Wars. I think of all of them though, that one has like a more of a Christmassy vibe. Which even though they
Yeah.
call it Life Day,
Mm-hmm.
it's still everything in it has a Christmas tone to me. Even
Yeah.
like when Yoda comes and those things that Yoda says, I go,
Yeah.
I like this.
And then
Like this is good.
Yeah, and
Good
how
stuff.
he's dressed too at the end.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this is a Christmas vibe.
Yes.
It's Life Day, but it's their way of saying Christmas
Right.
and that sort of thing. And I think the other ones, like New Girl and How I Met Your Mother, with How I Met Your Mother, I think there was more of a tone of Christmas, and then also New Girl was pretty good, but how they did things in that episode was,
It was like Christmas was an undertone
yeah,
in it, and it was more of what they were doing for
yeah,
their lives, where they were at. So it wasn't super Christmassy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then like Seinfeld, it's Festivus.
Yeah, it's Festivus. It's,
He's just fighting against all the commercialism of Christmas. So we can't really talk too much about that right now, but we will be talking more about it soon in our episodes that we are doing today. So thank you for joining us, and we will get going.
yeah, shooting the breeze.
Shooting the breeze. Okay, bye.
Bye.